Hi, and welcome to the Economic Report. First time we're going at 4 p.m., and that is during the week. So, welcome. And of course, today we're talking about all kinds of things here. And I want to remind you that the Economic Report is one of the few places where you take Wall Street economics, you take DC politics, and you bring them down to Main Street. So, thank you for joining me today. And today we're covering a couple of stories that are really worth following. Of course, the main story deals specifically with the meeting between Putin and Trump tomorrow in Anchorage, Alaska. Now, of course, many of you throw this right off the top of the head and you say, what on earth are these guys doing meeting in a place like Anchorage, Alaska? But the fact of the matter is, if you look at a map, you'll see that Alaska is right here next to Canada. And there's a little bit of water, and goodness sakes, there is Russia, not too far away. So my belief is it's a short trip per se for Russia, a short trip for Trump. It's actually meeting halfway. But maybe more importantly, I think it's showing the proximity of these two countries, right? Like Russia and the United States are a lot closer than you think in terms of proximity. And of course, you can throw Canada into the mix. And with that, I think that the president of the United States is going to have an opportunity to talk to Putin. And I realize there is a ton of rhetoric right now, and part of the rhetoric is that Trump needs to appease his European allies, right? And when I say the word appease, I want to use it very carefully because for a few reasons, we talk about appeasement later on in the show. You're going to say, I get where you're coming from, Brian, but let's go ahead and talk about appeasing the European people right now. And of course, the NATO allies and leadership are really like super leery of Putin, and they have every reason to be leery because he keeps on moving further and further into the Ukraine. And it's not once, it's not twice, it's been like three separate occasions, right? And this is the occasion, the third occasion, where Europe and elements of NATO have put their foot down and said, enough is enough. We are going to supply you weapons. We're going to give you financial support. And we want to really make sure that we're going to stop this Russian aggression. Of course, another person who's notably absent is Zelensky from Ukraine. And I get that as well. And it's another area to show some concern because without that, you really don't know the big picture, right? So maybe I can share a couple of things here that I think may help you with our understanding of this. And once again, I'm Brian at the Economic Report. Thank you for joining me. Hit like, hit subscribe, and of course, I can assure that you're getting fresh information sent to your inbox on a daily basis. Thanks for joining me, and I do respond to comments in the chat. If you think somebody else should be here at the Economic Report, feel free to invite them because we do have a robust, and I do mean a robust audience here on this channel. So let's continue. So we're studying Russia and, of course, their situation and maybe the big chance for Trump to play hero or at least stop a war from taking place. So he's going in and he's giving a lot of rhetoric for the media, for the camera, for the newspapers, and maybe for the European allies. But the other part of the story is that there's got to be a reason why Trump is meeting Putin on a one-on-one basis. I mean, the Putin's team and Trump's team talking about things, and I'm going to believe that there's a lot more they're going to discuss besides Ukraine. My guess is they're going to talk about rare earth minerals, one. Number two, they're going to talk about the gas line that goes from Russia all the way on into Ukraine, through Ukraine to Europe. And they're going to talk about the economic opportunity there. And make no question about it, I doubt for 1 second they're not going to talk about China. They're not going to talk about North Korea. I doubt that they're not going to talk about Iran and Israel. And of course, the other piece as part of this is, and I think it's incredibly important, is the moves of the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, to create their own currency system that weakens the US dollar. So you take all those things together, they do have a lot to talk about, and it's well beyond talking about the things that, well, let's face it, the things that are just about Ukraine. Not that it's not important, but the fact is, these things really do hold a ton of merit. And so I want to make sure the big picture once again. Yes, the umbrella of the Russia-Ukraine war, but the US dollar, China, North Korea, Iran, Israel, and of course, rare earths and oil natural resources. So they have a lot to talk about and a lot to talk about face to face and a lot of things here. Hey, Rocco, glad to have you here. Welcome to the Economic Report. You are amazing. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to make sure that we have a bigger picture as to what could be going on here with the Russian and U.S. Meeting. That's really a powerful place to be. And once again, folks, I'm live here and just saying that we are at the Economic Report, where we talk about Wall Street economics, we talk about DC politics, and bring the story down to Main Street. All that we ask for is a like and a subscribe. Why? Because it doesn't cost you a cent and it helps the channel out a ton. So maybe we can dial this back, because I am a bit of a history guy, and maybe I could share some history here about Russia, and maybe part of the reason why Europe is so incredibly concerned about Putin's move. First of all, these moves aren't just Putin's idea, like no question about it. There's more to the equation, and absolutely, Rocco, thank you very much. And Rock, if you have something to add here that's historically related, please do so, because that makes it amazing here as well. So check it out. Part of the reason like Russia is super concerned is, like, without a doubt, Europe is worried about Russia, and Russia is worried about Europe, in part because, well, the Soviet Union has collapsed. NATO has appeared to get stronger, and if you could follow some of the playbooks from history, so I would ask you to take a little bit of a deeper dive here. Because back during the 1930s, there was a fellow who came to power. Air, welcome here. Glad to have you here at the Economic Report, where everybody's opinion matters, particularly if it's shareable stuff right here in chat. But if I could take you back to World War II history, or maybe the pre-World War II history, there was a fellow out of Germany by the name of Hitler, and Hitler had ambitions to make Germany a world power again. And with that, he had promised his people all kinds of big changes inside of Germany. And part of that meant territorial expansion, whether it's acquiring Austria, acquiring the Ruhr Valley, which was known for steel and for coal deposits, or a move another direction of acquiring something known as the Sudetenland. And the Sudetenland was a part of Czechoslovakia. And the big belief was that if they just gave Hitler a piece of the Sudetenland in 1938, that this would stop Hitler from his continual drive for more and more. And so Neville Chamberlain, Great Britain's prime minister during that time period, calls this big move peace with honor. He had gone ahead and spoken with all the European leaders, and what does he do? He actually has a document that gave away part of Czechoslovakia, and we're talking about giving that to Hitler. So Hitler officially starts September 1st, 1939, but you could really make an argument that maybe the beginnings of World War II started with maybe Germany's rearmament. You could make an argument that maybe, just maybe, World War II started right around the time that Hitler came to power. You could even make an argument that World War II started the day that World War I ended. So I share that with you for a couple of reasons. And part of the reason is very, very simple. Germany started going down a course of action that eventually brought the rest of Europe into war. You could see Poland, for instance, is terrified of Russia's westward expansion, in part because Poland knows what it's like to be invaded. They were invaded by Russia at one time during World War II, as they were by Germany. So you understand there's an acute awareness of what's going on here. You could make another argument that the rest of Europe, they've fought wars and they've really paid significant prices in these wars. So I want to make sure that we're understanding the big picture. And the big picture is, if you're a European, you are super worried about these moves in the Ukraine. What the United States has, of course, is an ocean between us and Europe, but we sure have a heck of a lot of interests over there. And part of it is our interests in NATO, right? And the North Atlantic Treaty Organization really does have a ton of power. And the idea is an attack on one member is an attack on all members. So it is a collective defense umbrella that is set up. And so I want to remind you that while the Ukraine and Russia discussion is going on between Trump and Putin, the fact is there's going to be a lot of stuff going on there, whether it's flexing, whether it's rhetoric. Both sides are going to come in there, but I'm here to say, like, without a doubt, Putin and Trump are going to talk about a range of issues, not just Ukraine, not just Russia. They're probably talking about what the world order could be. And it's interesting that Trump is able to pull this meeting off because Putin respects Trump and Trump has a degree of respect for Putin. So I just want to make sure that we're kind of getting that piece clear, because once again, I can only imagine where this is going to go. And, questions have been asked whether or not, Ukraine has already redlined what they are not willing to give up. And so with that, I want to make sure that I'm reminding this. Thank you, Jesus is Lord, without a doubt. Thank you. And there's a lot of people out there that could hear that message. So thank you very much. And thank you for liking and subscribing as well. You are the kind of people that make the internet work in a positive, not a negative way. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to make sure that we covered that story about Russia, Ukraine, and of course the United States, and the preview. Of course, if the long form is already available, I posted the video yesterday. It's worthy of following because there's a lot there to unravel, and it's not just a meeting on the surface, or on the surface maybe that is a meeting, but if you dig into it just a teeny bit more, you will see there's a lot more going on besides that. Besides that, we're going ahead and taking a look at a quick market wrap here, which I can discuss with you as well on this channel. And this is the first time that I'm really reporting at 4 o'clock p.m. My summer hours were 10 a.m. running the live, and I had a lot of robust participation. So I'm experimenting a little bit. 4 o'clock we're trying. Maybe the next time we'll try this is at 5 o'clock, just to see what kind of volume we're getting and participation we're getting. Maybe even up to 6 o'clock. But the people who watch my channel tend to be pretty active between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So I will throw that out there and see what kind of leverage we gain here. But we can't talk crypto for a bit because crypto is worth talking about. So I can go ahead and give you the Bitcoin price for today. Bitcoin is trading at $118,000 per coin. It is down about $2,000 from yesterday. Actually, looking at the chart, it says they're down like $5,000. So this crypto thing is, yes, people like the idea of getting rich quick, but of course, with that comes a lot of volatility, and you want to be careful. And obviously, anything you commit to a financial market, whether it's crypto, whether it's gold, silver, whether it's the stock market, you really don't want to invest things that you can't afford to lose, right? And so with that, we can go ahead and check our next ticker, which is going to be Ethereum, which has had a lot of nice action on it this week. Ethereum right now, we can go ahead. Oh, it's down $219, so it's trading at 4,500 right now. And of course, rounding out the cryptos, we can go ahead and take a look at Solana. And just a disclaimer, I do have a couple of Solana, not much, enough to be up about 100, 150 bucks. But it's been kind of an interesting hold to have, so I continue sharing those with you. Beyond that, we can do a quick wrap of gold and silver. Of course, that market is still trading and doesn't close, except for I think it resets on Sundays, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Kitco. They give you a spot gold price or an approximate spot gold price. So we will go ahead and check that out here real quick here at the economic report, because these are the things that matter. And who knows, a meeting like both Trump and Putin are participating in tomorrow, could it move a market? Well, of course, some of the news that comes out of this will most definitely, and I say definitely, move markets as well. So we take a look here at gold, and gold is trading where? Okay, we're still waiting for this to load. A little bit of a, should we call these technical difficulties here? But this is kind of how life operates, right? We'll try one more time. Gold spot price. And we're getting a spot price of gold. Gold is currently at 33.35 per ounce. And, you know, we've been following gold here for a few weeks here on the economic report. We see that it's traded as high as 33.33 about 3 weeks ago. It went down and all of a sudden jumped up yesterday, and now it's, well, it looks like it's kind of leveling out there. And the other we always cover is poor man's gold, also known as silver. Silver is a ton of fun to cover because, well, the average person, people on Main Street, can own silver, and it makes it kind of fun to watch this. And of course, silver's down 50 cents per ounce right now. So just reminding you that this is the economic report, and my name is Brian, and we are trying a new time here. It's 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we've gone ahead and talked about things that matter to people like us on Main Street, trying to take the stuff that happens from Wall Street, trying to take the stuff that happens from DC politics and bring it down to a theme that where people just like us on Main Street can follow a story. You've been absolutely awesome today, Rocco and Jesus is Lord. Thank you very much for participating here. And of course, with that, folks, I want to remind you that the biggest battle you fight every single day is the one between your ears of your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. And with that, when you're out, make sure you say hi, smile. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps make the world a better place. Thank you for joining me, and I enjoy working with you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day.